Hi friends, thank you for joining me on another Get Ready With Me. This one's going to be a little different because what I'm also going to do is include a wear test on this new foundation that I'm trying out. It's the Fiona Stiles Matte Finish Foundation, and I purchased this during a recent Ulta haul and it was 50% off. Yes girl. So I'm going to go through this really quickly so you can get all the information, all the products I used, and let's see how it wears. Check in with you later. Bye friends. Okay, let's start out with some Urban Decay Optical Illusion Blurring Primer. I use this sparingly, so I'm just going to take a little bit into the fingers to warm it up, and I just dot it to where I need it on the face. I don't put it all over, so I just kind of pat and press it in. I think that works best. And all over the face, I am going to put my primer water from Smashbox because I friggin' love it and I can't stop using it. For foundation today, I am going to use the Fiona Stiles Matte Finish Foundation, and this is the one I'm including in that wear test. So what I love about this foundation line is that it uses the number system, so you can't go wrong. I'm in the color 6, and I'm going to start with 2 pumps here. And then I looked at my hand and figured, oh, maybe I need a 3rd pump, just for good measure. Why not? So I'm going to go ahead and use a beauty blender for this application. Now what I want to do is just make sure there's enough foundation all over the beauty blender, nicely and evenly distributed. And I'm going to start towards the center of the face, and then I'll bring it down and work it all the way around. So I know right now it looks super dark, but you'll see as the video progresses, it does lighten up and blend into the skin quite nicely. So for concealer today, I'm going to use the Nars Radiant Creamy Concealer. This is in the color Custard. This concealer is no joke. I mean, it is so opaque and pigmented and beautiful. It gives you that brightness that you want. And I really love it, but it does dry a little quickly and it can crease on you. So I choose to do one side at a time, and that's what I'm doing here. So I just make sure I blend it out nice and evenly all over. And to set that down, I'm going to use the Mercier translucent setting powder. And I'm just going to take it onto my beauty blender. I just tap off the excess into the cap. I make sure there is no creasing and nothing has caked up since. And then I'll just place that powder all over wherever I had that concealer. For the rest of my face, I'm going to set it down with the Fiona Stiles Invisible Finish Loose Setting Powder, and this is Sorrento color 5-6. So if that's your foundation shade, you should use this particular powder. So I'm going to just take a little bit into that cap, and I'm going to use a big fat brush. I'm going to use this real big one. This is from the Real Technique line. I'm just going to swirl it all over and make sure it's nice and even there, distributed. So I'm going to just pat it all over, press it in, because I don't want to move anything. I just want to set it down. So I do bring it down the neck because I did throw some foundation down on the neck as well. Moving on, eyebrows, Fiona Stiles Brown Ash, and the IT Cosmetics Brow Power. Yes. Bam, eyebrows. And now it's time for the cheek parade. Yes! I love this palette. It's just so great. So today, again, I'm looking for a kind of natural look. I'm not going too crazy. So instead of just using the Hoola Original on its own, I'm going to include that light. So I'm just going to mix the two together. And it just gives you a nice flush of color. It's not too intense, but it still gives you that little bit of cheekbone you want and that little bit of kiss from the sun glow. So for the blush, I'm going to take a little bit of that Dandelion and just a dab of the California. So I'm going to take that right onto the apples of the cheeks. I like to kind of pat it in first, press it down, and then feather it into the bronzer. Do the same thing on the other side. Pat, 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 press and feather. Yes. Moving on to the Rockateur. I like to take a little bit of that Rockateur right under where I put my highlight. It's just a nice transition. I know it looks super glittery in the pan, but on the face, it doesn't translate that way. It looks great. So I'm just going to check myself out, do a little ditty, throw on a little bit more
blush. This is super soft, very baby pink. So, yeah. Okay, eye time with Naked 2 Urban Decay. I know. It's such an old palette, but I try to use it as much as possible. So here I'm going to go in with the Foxy color. And I'm going to use a big fluffy brush. This is from the Doe Color collection that I got from Amazon. I think I had mentioned that before. So I'm just going to go all over the lid. That is going to be my base color. So I'm going to go next in with Tease. And this one I'm going to use my Urban Decay brush. And this is the pointed tapered blending brush. So I place it right into that corner where I want the majority of the color. Kind of buff it in and then lightly feather it out throughout the lid here. So next up I'm going to use Snakebite. So this color I'm going to use the brush that came with the palette. Yeah, it's nice and flat, and these kind of shimmery glittery colors tend to have a little fallout, so you want to be super careful of that, and that's why I like using this flat brush for these kind of pigmentations. So I am going to place it on the outer corner of the eye, and then I'm going to bring it in lightly to the center of the eye, and then also bring it up towards the crease line. So for the lids, I'm going to go in with Suspect. It's this beautiful champagne gold color, and I'm just going to pop that onto the eyelids using my finger. Trusty old finger. Yes. Don't let me down, girl. Moving on. A little bit of Blackout, and with this color all I'm going to do is align the lids. I'm not going to create a wing or do any pencil or liquid liner. Again, I just want to do kind of a quote-unquote natural look. So to me that means using eyeshadow as a liner. It helps define the eyes, but it's not too stark or harsh. So next up, I'm going to work on the under eye. So I already placed down a little bit of the original Hoola bronzer. That is very matte, so of course that's going to help diffuse that shimmery and glitteriness that the Snakebite color has to it. It just blends super nicely. Moving on to some mascara, and then highlight. Yes! Peach Glow. So I'm just going to take a little bit on this tapered blender brush that I have from e.l.f. This is such a great highlighter. I love all of these L'Oreal highlighters, but this one is just kind of the most natural looking for me, I guess. Even though it's a pinky peach undertone, I don't know, something about it. You can just put as much as you want and it still looks natural somehow. It doesn't give you any texture, it just gives you a luminosity and that nice glow. I mean, you're not glowing from outer space, but glow nonetheless. So yes, looks good. Moving on to the Candlelight Glow, or I'm sorry, Candle Glow. But it is like the hourglass glow, you know, the ambient glows. It's all the same. Anyway, so this is the number 3. I'm just going to use a little bit. Okay, I thought I was going to use a little bit, which that's what I normally do, but I don't know what happened. I was like, oh, that's cute, oh, cute, and then a forehead, and then it's all over the face. But normally I just go in the high points. Moving on to lips, and then, they're done. You tease. So anyway, that's the final look. Very natural, just kind of simple. And spoiler, I like the foundation. It's great. And up next are my final thoughts.
Hi friends, I just wanted to do a quick check-in with you. Right now it's about 3 o'clock and my makeup's still holding up pretty good. It's not patchy, it's not breaking up anywhere. I'm a little shiny, but I don't think it's the makeup. It is a little humid, and it did go a bit hambo with that candlelight glow, so it could be that. But overall, the makeup still looks good, and I can't wait to see what it looks like at the end of the day. Check in with you then. Hi friends, so it's 8 o'clock, and that means it's my final check-in time. I went 12 hours with this makeup on, and you know what? It really surprised me how well it still looks. This light does not really do it justice. Unfortunately, you can't see how good it still looks, but in person it looks so much better. But even on camera, I mean, it still looks okay. But anyway, So yeah, I like it. I think this is a total winner. I thought it was going to be way too dark, but I feel like it just totally blended in and it looks really good.